Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today for today's webinar. Firstly, I'll introduce myself. My name is Chad Donaldson, the Senior Partnerships Manager for Capify out of Victoria and South Australia. My counterpart, Ahmed Khan, out of New South Wales. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Therese O'Neill, out of Mentor Vision from Victoria. Welcome, Therese. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
So today we'll be talking to Therese about the secret to successful diversification within the finance industry for brokers. Therese is a mentor accredited with both MFAA and FBAA, 25 years experience in the industry, and mentored over 300 brokers across Sydney or New South Wales, Victoria, Brisbane, WA, Adelaide.
Yep.
Been and done it everywhere. All states, yeah, that's probably an easy way to say it. And you're currently a high performance coach for elite brokers.
That's correct.
An author, and now you're moving into a keynote speaker.
That's correct.
Awesome. Fantastic. So, Therese, you were awarded the FBAA Mentor of the Year at the end of last year, so congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Most proud of 35 years plus mentoring graduates who have recognised for winners and finalists at various events across the country. Only in the last 12 months. Again, another fantastic achievement.
Thank you.
And today you act as a business and high performance coach for a dozen elite brokers across the country. You also partner with select lenders across, I assume, across the country, not just Victoria.
That's correct. Yep. Yes, Chad.
With their ongoing broker training, development, engagement, which we're very excited to hear about today. So again, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Chad, and thank you, Capify, for inviting me to participate in the webinar. I'm a big fan of yours, as you know, and I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it.
We really appreciate your time from both of us and from the company. So just a bit of housekeeping before we do dive in. If you do have any questions during the presentation, please just leave a note in the question box and we'll either get to you during the webinar. We have some questions at the end that we'll answer, or we'll come back to you post-webinar as soon as we can.
Yeah.
We'll get stuck into some questions. So firstly, Therese, again, thanks for being here. We know your clients are quite successful in embracing diversification. For you, what is the secret on how they've been able to enter in the new industry with such success?
Great question, Chad. In the last 12 months, we've had over 35 of our new-to-industry brokers either make finalist or win industry awards. And by virtue of the fact that they're being mentored means that they've joined this industry with no background in credit, lending or finance predominantly. So, and what they've achieved is some really great results, not just in residential mortgage lending, but also in embracing diversification from the get-go. And one of the reasons that they're so good at that and embracing diversification is because they're startup entrepreneurs, they're hungry.
Of course.
And for them, because of the virtue of their background, a residential home loan is as new to them as an unsecured business loan. So for them, everything is new. So if they say no to anything that they're unfamiliar with, they just won't make a cracking start in this industry. Yeah. So I think that's been one of the real keys to their very early success. They are, and also ego doesn't come into play as well. So they're a new broker, they need to make money. They want to achieve great outcomes for their client because they have to battle hard for every single client that they get.
Of course.
So they're not averse, ego doesn't get in the way of them saying, I don't know. They will say, I don't know, but I will find out for you and get back to you. And I think that mindset has been really helping and going in their favour. They also know that they can get a hold of me as their mentor. So in the event that they had potentially an opportunity for asset finance with a client or unsecured business finance, they're happy to say to the client, I'll get back to you. They'll get straight on the phone to me by phone or text or email and just say, hey, T, I've got a client that needs $800,000, or I've got a client that wants to buy a new car, or I've got a client that wants to expand their business next door. Who can I call? And so I think relationships, the close relationships that I have with Chad and yourself, Ahmed, is really great because I can receive that call. I know exactly where we need to go. I can pick up the phone. I can chat to you. I put the two of you in contact, deals done.
What a great outlet for new guys coming through.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Fantastic.
And it instills in them the confidence.
Yeah.
So what they know is that they're supported and backed up the whole way. And what's been really important is, for myself, is then the backing of BDMs like yourself, so that we don't let that broker down.
And build such a strong relationship and foundation for those guys coming through to move forward.
No doubt about it. I actually had one of my brokers, so her first deal was a $6 million transaction, very first loan.
Wow.
Her background was in corporate law.
Okay.
So that was so foreign to her. She got it. I go, all we need to do is break this down step by step. You've got my guidance. You've got my back. You'll work with great lending partners. We will not let that client down. They will not miss settlement date. So that's really important. And the other part too, Chad, is in the structured mentoring program that we have, the last 9 months of the 2-year program, what we then do is I do a lot of learning and education around how to read financial statements, how to work out a liquidity test, what's their return on equity, what's their return on investment. We explore the commercial valuation process, hypothetical property developments, all the various different business and commercial lending products and policies that are out there in the market. So invariably, a broker's starting to diversify already. They're writing 1 or 2 business, commercial, asset finance deals, and now the deep dive learning comes in afterwards. It only further strengthens their confidence, and they just write more and more and more.
And it enables their ability to identify needs, which is half the battle.
Correct. And because the other part of what's worked for us over the last decade with mentoring brokers too is it's an ongoing learning where I will spend a good day a month in business marketing and development. And a key part of that is identifying transactional opportunities within the deal. So a lot of training around that. We've got some really good 20-question scripts that our brokers find invaluable, and various other tools and templates that they can download. Again, it's all about confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence makes winners.
Awesome answer. I know where I'd be going if I was starting.
100%.
Thank you.
I think a few key things that I picked up through what you're saying is, one key thing is to make sure you're not already kind of got a predetermined mindset and how you're approaching this space. So going in there with a no-fear approach and knowing, you know what, any opportunity that comes to me, I know who I can go to as a source of knowledge and have that confidence to have that solution-based selling rather than transactional.
Yes.
Really reinforces relationships, which is obviously key for the broker community.
Yes, absolutely. The other key thing is I can sit here with a home loan deal. I'm going to earn $3,500. I can write, say, an asset finance deal out of that same deal that I otherwise wouldn't have, earn another $1,200, and I've increased my return by 30%.
Yeah.
That's a big reinforcer as well.
Or an
Ahmed.
unsecured business loan.
Absolutely, yeah. Or an unsecured business loan through Capify.
So I've got a question for you.
Yes.
If I was a broker and I'm looking for the opportunities and how to branch out, how do I actually spot a transactional diversification opportunity maybe with my existing book?
Oh, a great question. I mean, if I can take you through probably very briefly,
please.
in 5 minutes, how we might do some transactional opportunity training. So we all know that 1 in every 3 or 1 in every 4 home loan opportunities or client, you'll sit there with a file, 1 in every 3 or 1 in every 4 clients are likely to have 1 applicant that is self-employed.
Yes.
So if I'm having a look and sitting there at that file, irrespective of what the lender may want you to gather in your documentation gathering stage. If they only want 1 year's financials, that's fine. But as a professional broker and looking to expanding those transactional opportunities, I would also be asking the client for 2 years historical tax returns, 2 years financial statements, get the last 12 months business banking statements, and say the last 6 or 12 months BAS as well. So you don't need to pass those on to the lender, but they're a great arsenal to have because there's a strategy around that, which we'll get to later.
Nice.
Deal with the transaction that's on the table right now, because your client is going to auction, or your client has a finance date for that residential property or a settlement date. So there is a time-bound deadline with respect to the key reason that they've come to you. So we get that sorted first. Get the approval in place, do whatever is urgent, and then in the interceding period, so let's say we're ordering a valuation.
Yeah.
Now's the time to have another conversation with that client around the financial statements that you may have gathered. There's other opportunities as they sit there as well. If they have purchased, there is a real estate contact sitting right here in your loan file. So I would also say to my brokers, you pick up the phone and you make a call and you introduce yourself to that real estate agent. Hi, I'm Therese. You don't know me, but I'm looking after Chad. I believe he's purchasing a property from you in Sunnyside. I'm organising the finance. We're in a position now where we've just ordered a valuation on the property. A valuer may contact your office. If we can get that access to that property as soon as possible, that would be awesome, so that we can achieve finance approval on time and settlement on time. Now, that is then setting you up for a potential referral opportunity. If the client's self-employed, don't bother the client with having to get all the financial information. Make it part of your value add. Hey, Chad, there's a lot of financial stuff that we've got. I know you're a busy guy running your gym, but if it's okay with you, with your permission, I'm happy to get on the phone, call the accountant for you and arrange that information. Now I've got a warm call to an accountant that I can follow up at a later date. With the client themselves, once we've got the deadline set, you sit and you have another conversation with the client around his business. Hey, Chad, valuation's in order. We've got the conditional approval. I've spoken to the agent. Everything's in place. Listen, I was just having a look at your financial statements there. You got a good little business there, and I would love to know more about it. So when did you start the business? Why did you start a gym business? What's been your greatest year so far? What's been your most challenging year? What are your plans for the next 12 months? I'm fascinated to know. I see that you've got some equipment there that you've got under finance. I don't know when that's due. Would you like me to maybe get a quote on refinancing that for you now? So conversations like that. Also, what are your plans for the business for the next 3 years? What would be 1 or 2 things that would help you to fast track that? Awesome. And what would it mean to the business if you were able to do that now? What value would that add to your family? How could your life be better? Because I may be able to help you. They're the conversations that I can have with my client that opens up a myriad of transactional opportunities. So that one home loan file that's sitting on your desk for $750,000 can now turn into potentially 3, 4, 5 deals, plus 2 new referral introductions.
And what a great experience for the customer. You know, it's not just a tick and flick from their broker. You know, it's a really holistic view on their business, you understanding their business. People love talking about what they've done.
Because they're passionate about it. If you're running a business 7 days a week, it's your love. Next to your family, it is your greatest love. So for them to be able to share that experience with you, and the number of times my brokers have said, oh my God, I asked this question and the guy said, I can't believe that you've actually just asked this, because that stuff is actually due to expire in 3 months' time. Yeah.
And people appreciate it as well.
They do. Yeah.
And it's so common, like just by asking the question, like how many things could come out of it.
If you don't ask, it's a no. Hey?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And look, to be honest, in what, 4 or 5 minutes, we've probably maybe already got some of the viewers thinking about, you know, all
I'll
these
give you the
opportunities.
20 question scripts, you know, so if anybody
That'll be
wants to
awesome.
reach out, I've got about 5 of them, 5
Awesome.
versions.
And it's such an easy way to add value. And for Chad and myself and our team, we're trying to add that value where we can to, like you said in the start, be that additional support for the brokers that are looking to branch out as well.
Yes.
And look, I know we want to try and keep this kind of real tight and get through and not keep people away from doing their work as well. But we've got a couple of questions that are coming through. So I thought it would be, and I do appreciate you showing us and kind of highlighting some of the successful ways that brokers can diversify. So a couple of questions. One's maybe from me to you, right? So I hope you guys don't mind. Can you give me an example of how you might start a conversation with a self-employed customer? Because they may already be a consumer client of yours that you've done a mortgage for, but how could a broker go into that meeting and have the confidence to start that conversation?
So, yeah, and thank you very much for that question, Ahmed. If I go back to what I was saying before, what would be one, what can you bring forward? How can I help you with your business? Let's say in the example of George that owns the gym. And this is not an uncommon conversation. What would be helpful? Well, Teresa, would be really nice. The gym across the road from us they're at the end of their lease in 6 months' time. The blokes come across the road to me to see if I'd be interested. I went to the bank, and the bank won't lend me any more money. So that's a really great opportunity. And if I can ask more questions of George, George, mate, as an example, like, you've clearly done the research, you've clearly got an idea. If you've already gone and spoken to the bank, what were your plans? If you were able to secure the site across the road and George says, well, it would cost me about 70 grand, I already know that. And what I'd love to do is we don't have any space in the gym I've got now and there's increasing demand for Pilates. So my intention was I would go across there, gut it, clean it out and set up a Pilates studio. I know I'd get 50 Pilates clients a week. They'd pay $15 a week. I'd gross about 7.5 grand. So, and the bank may say no, there's not enough equity. It's not inside their policy. They don't fund gyms anymore. But this is a really great example of where I could reach out to Capify.
Of course.
I've already got their business banking statements. I've already got their BAS.
Yep.
It's $70,000. I'm assuming if I had that sort of plan, this is the purpose of the funds, this is what they want to do. This guy's going to pull in 7.5 grand gross a week, additional income. I'm sure that's something that's a Capify deal, right?
Yep.
If I can then go back to the client and say, hey, let me come back to you, give me a couple of days. Let me come back to you, see if I can organise some alternative finance for you at a reasonable rate that will allow you to pull in that $7,500 a week.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think George is going to say no.
Yeah.
He will go, hey, listen, geez, if you can, that'd be great.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, more often than not, they'll appreciate the fact that you've even asked a question and gone into that, shown the interest, right? So, you know, there's no harm that's necessarily going to come from it. Look, if George, for example, says, you know what, like, I'm okay, at least you've gone and shown the interest and it's planted a seed for later as well.
That's
right?
exactly what it's done.
And it ties back into what you said before, Therese, about really understanding their business, you know, from the roots.
And I think this is, to all the brokers out there, what sets you as a mortgage broker apart from the home finance managers and everybody else that's out there. Everybody that sits as a home finance manager, a mobile lender, they've got sales targets, they've got clients they've got to get through. when they see a client like George, who owns the gym that's purchasing a property, they've got a finite amount of time that they can spend with him because they've got to get the deal settled. They've got to meet their branch or lending targets. As a mortgage and finance broker, if I want to spend half a day with George because I'm fascinated with his business, I have the luxury to spend half a day with George. Nobody is better positioned to have that sort of intimate relationship with their client like a mortgage and finance broker does. And nothing's changed.
That's awesome. It looks like someone in the crowd actually may know you. So we've got a question here. So you've obviously got so much experience and expertise within this space.
Yes.
So why have you decided to move away from mentoring and more into that keynote speaking industry?
Yeah, no, great question, Ahmed. Look, I've been mentoring for a decade.
Okay.
Mentored over 350 brokers.
Wow. Yeah.
I set in a succession plan
Okay.
about 6 months ago. I also wrote an elite broker program for brokers beyond that 2 years experience. Started trialling that with great results. So the time is now. It's the time to move on.
Awesome.
I've got a handful of brokers and broker practices that I've been working with over the last month and more signing on. I absolutely love it. And also affords me time to pursue my passion in keynote speaking.
Nice.
And working with yourselves, lenders like yourselves in broker training and development. So I'm very excited about some of those partnerships coming up.
Awesome. And I guess just before we kind of sign off through Chad.
Yes.
We've been speaking, and Capify obviously have a big drive for the broker channel this year and moving forward. Now, what would, I guess, your thoughts be on the future of the broking space? We obviously finished up the Better Business Summit as well, and there's a lot of support there. But what do you see the future of the broker industry?
I am extremely bullish about the future of the broking industry. And to quote Tom Panos, who came out, I think, after the findings of the Royal Commission, and he said, you know what, just work hard, do your job, ensure that every customer experience and outcome is exceptional, leave no stone unturned, and you've got nothing to worry about.
Which ties perfectly into everything that we've spoken about today.
Yeah.
Understanding.
Awesome.
Thanks, Therese. Guys, look, unfortunately, we are out of time. We will get in touch with everyone that has come through with some questions in the short term. Great questions again. Awesome responses from yourself, Therese. Thank you. We know that you are a busy woman these days with the keynote speaking and jotting around the country and probably to Europe in the short term. And I just wanted to recap our discussion, I guess. Firstly, the notion around brokers asking for more. I think that it's so simple but so effective. Ties so well into the experience for the customer, which is needs to be our absolute foremost. The experience of the customer, making sure the ability of the broker to dive deeper into the customer situation, to have brokers understanding that the impact to the family, I think that resonates really well.
Yes.
And it dives real personally for the customer as well, to really they understand that the broker really cares for what they're trying to achieve. The impact to the business and what you said, if the goal is achieved, even if it's not achieved, what's the impact?
Yes.
You know, and what can we do to support you if it's not achieved? Because at the end of the day, some things don't happen, right? And if we understand the full holistic view of what's going on, then I think that can be tackled as well. And just the business knowing that they have that support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think identifying the need, again, with going through understanding the business from a foundation level, and getting rid of this tick and flick mentality. That it's not apparent, but it's definitely there.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you're not asking the question,
Someone else.
Someone
you cannot
else
get kicked down the road. Somebody else will, and they'll rob you of your business. So you just can't afford not to dig deep.
Yeah, and passion. It comes back to that
Yeah.
word passion, right? I think that's a great word. So for anyone in the industry, please reach out to Therese O'Neill for any guidance, looking to diversify across commercial lending, unsecured lending. Within that unsecured space, if you do need more understanding, obviously reach out to Ahmed and myself, or anyone at Capify. I'd be happy to help. The first broker to refer a client post-webinar will win a 1-hour free coaching session with Therese.
Awesome.
Very hard to come by. Very hard to come by. Also attached to the webinar will be some product sheets, some cheat sheets from Capify to understand what we offer and how we offer it. And before you exit, please share the recording to your network. And thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Therese.
Thanks,
Thank
Therese.
you.
Cheers.